Well, this afternoon, family, friends, and community members will get the opportunity to remember Sergeant Kenneth Salis. Now, not only is this going to happen through a procession starting here in the cross-section between Wellesley and Assembly, but it's actually going to go into the Convention Center, make its way down there for the memorial service that's starting at 1 p.m. this afternoon, doors opening at noon. Now, we just really want to, before the procession starts here at 11, want to take you guys about what you should expect leading up to this large procession, I might add. There are a ton of different agencies and cars lining all the way down Assembly. I'm not too sure if we can just kind of pan the camera just a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm seeing. Countless of different agencies here, like I said, in the intersection between Wellesley and Assembly. Now, we do have a map of the procession route for those of you who are watching. So it's going to start over here near Dwight Merkel, and it travels south along Northwest Boulevard to Ash, and then east on Broadway Avenue. It then turns north onto Monroe Street and east on Boone to Division Street. Now, the public is encouraged to line this route to honor Sergeant Salis for his service and sacrifice. Now, because of the procession though and the memorial, there will be several road closures along the route that you may have noticed, because a lot of the road closures started at 9 o'clock this afternoon, or this morning, excuse me. Now, roads that are closed include Assembly Street between Wellesley and Francis, which is where we are right now. This is near the start of the procession. Southbound traffic will also be blocked on Division at Sharp. Southbound Washington Street will be closed from Boone to Spokane Falls Boulevard. There are also several road closures downtown near the Convention Center. North River Drive, Division, and Riverside. Now, as for the memorial service, like I mentioned, it is set to start at 1 o'clock with doors opening at noon. Now, the Sheriff's Office says the service is open to the public, but space inside is limited. So just as a recap for those looking to honor the life of Sergeant Salis, today's procession starts at 11 a.m. here in minutes, near the area of Dwight Merkel Sports Complex here at the intersection of Assembly and Wellesley. And then the memorial service at the Convention Center starts at 1 p.m. Now, for another look at the details, including a closer look at those road closures, you can just head to our website, crem.com. Now, for those of you who are not caught up with this story, Sergeant Salis died in the line of duty nearly 2 weeks ago. On August 9th, he was helping to clear a hay bale that had fallen onto I-90 near Four Lakes when a motorcyclist hit him and his patrol car. Sergeant Salis was taken to a hospital but died from those injuries. Salis was 59 years old and had served with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office for more than 30 years. Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles said the sergeant had only 30 shifts left until he was set to retire on September 30th, which is just here in 10 days. During a press conference the Sheriff's Office held the day Sergeant Salis died, Sheriff Knowles says Sergeant Salis was a pillar for their department and the true definition of what it meant to be a law enforcement officer.
He was the nicest man that you could ever hope to meet, willing to do anything for anybody. I think he took the idea of being a servant leader to heart, and I think the men and women who worked with him and worked for him would tell you that they just absolutely loved working for him. When you serve with people, you bleed and sweat together, cry together, and somebody's taken from you like that. I mean, those men and women were working with Sergeant Salis and talking to him 6 hours ago, and he's gone.
Now, Sheriff Knowles says Sergeant Salis is survived by his wife. Now, the procession, like we mentioned, is starting here in the intersection of Wellesley and Assembly here at 11, which is just in a couple of minutes. For another look at the route, if you wanted to pay your respects and you wanted to support the Sheriff's Office at a time like this and line up along the procession route, we have that, as well as the road closures, up on our website, crem.com. If you want to watch the memorial memorial live at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We will also be streaming it here on our Creme 2 Plus app for you to watch if you weren't able to make it down to the convention center or there wasn't enough space for you when you got there. Now, we are going to continue this stream as the procession moves along from this area of near Dwight Merkel, right next to the VA clinic here in the area. And so we will keep you informed as far as when the procession is actually about to start, and then once it comes back and once it leaves this area, we will also be letting you know where you can continue to watch this story. We of course will have updates later today, not just in our noon, but we'll have updates in our late shows at the 4, 5, 6, and our late shows as well. But just as a reminder, we are going to be streaming that memorial service that starts at 1 p.m. at the convention center here on Creme 2 Plus. But for right now, we are right here in the intersection of Wellesley and Assembly waiting for that procession to start. Now, we were speaking with an officer when we first arrived here on scene, and they said that the procession should start here on Assembly. They're going to drive down Assembly, and then they're going to drive in front of this large line of different vehicles, law enforcement vehicles that is, and drive down Assembly towards the downtown area. So that should happen here in just a couple of minutes. We're going to step off screen and kind of monitor the situation. We'll let you know if there's any new developments right now, but right now we're just kind of waiting for everything to start. But for now, like I said, Christian Garza, Creme 2 News, will keep this stream up for you here so you can watch along with us. Now, for those of you who are just joining this stream, we are here live at the starting route of the procession for Sergeant Kenneth Salis, who died just a couple of weeks ago in the line of duty. As you can see, there is a large crowd here at the starting point, a couple of different community members that are showing up. There are also nurses from the VA medical hospital that are, because it's right here next to Dwight Merkel's Sports Complex as well. Now, just so you guys are aware, this procession starts here at 11 o'clock, was supposed to start here at 11 o'clock. It seems to be just a couple more minutes late, but like I mentioned, we are at the intersection of Wellesley and Assembly, and once the procession actually starts, it will be making its way to the convention center. Now, the memorial for Sergeant Salis will be at the convention center. Doors open at noon, and the memorial is set to start at 1 p.m. Now, we have a list of the different road closures. We have a list of the procession route for those of you who want to come out as well and pay your respects and support the sheriff's office at a time like this. We have that up on our website, creme.com. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the story, Sergeant Salis died in the line of duty nearly 2 weeks ago. Now, on August 9th, he was helping to clear a hay bale that had fallen onto I-90 near 4 Lakes when a motorcyclist actually hit him and his patrol car. Now, Sergeant Salas was taken to the hospital, but later died from his injuries. Now, Sergeant Salas was 59 years old and had served with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office for more than 30 years. The Spokane County Sheriff, John Knowles, said that Sergeant Kenneth Salis had only 30 shifts left until he was set to retire on the 30th. Now, Sheriff Knowles says Sergeant Salis is survived by his wife, and the procession is on its way. Like I mentioned earlier, it's at the crossroads of Wellesley and Assembly. It's going to come down Wellesley and meet this these large lines of different vehicles from all these different agencies across the inland Northwest, and will lead them downtown to the convention center. We will also be live streaming the memorial when it starts at 1 p.m. For those of you who aren't able to get down there, or maybe not able to be there physically, because while it is open to the public, seating is limited down there. But like I said, we will have the memorial live streamed here on Creme 2 Plus starting at 1 in the afternoon. And like I mentioned earlier as well, we also have a list of all the different road closures in the area because of the procession. We have a list of all the procession route as well if you wanted to come out and support them. If right here on our website, creme.com, as well as on our streaming platform, Creme 2 Plus. We're going to be streaming this procession until it leaves this area. Again, we are here near the Dwight Merkel Sports Complex, right here next to the VA hospital as well, on Wellesley and Assembly. And we are going to be watching for the procession to actually start. It just looks like it's a little bit late, but we will come back again and give you an update when we see some movement on Wellesley. For those of you who are along the route, for those of you who want to come out and support as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we will come back and kind of give you updates periodically through the morning once we see movement, and then afterwards we'll let you know where they're going to be and how you can pay your respects for Sergeant Kenneth Salis as well. For now, reporting here in Spokane, Christian Garza, Creme 2 News. Let's get back to watching the procession here. Now, for those of you who are just joining us here on Creme 2 Plus, we are at the starting point of the procession for Spokane County Sheriff Sergeant Kenneth Salis. Now, we are here at the intersection of Wellesley and Assembly, right in front of the VA Medical Hospital near the Dwight Merkel Sports Complex. Now, we're waiting for the procession to start. It was scheduled to start at around 11 o'clock this morning, but it looks like they're running just a little bit late as well. The route is supposed to kind of be starting here on Wellesley, and it's going to join this large line of vehicles, law enforcement, patrol cars, what have you. I can't even count the number of law enforcement that are out here right now because the line is just so long. Now you can see kind of here in the middle there are some officers kind of navigating the traffic here in the area as well. It looks like there's a bunch of different motorcycles from Washington State Patrol kind of making their way. So it looks like the procession is set to start here in just a little bit. So we're actually going to cut out and we're going to let it go by. So here. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in here on Creme 2 Plus, that was the end of the first part of the procession for Sergeant Kenneth Salis, who died in the line of duty just under 2 weeks ago. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this was just the start of the procession. It just passed by us. It's on its way to the convention center in downtown, and now the memorial for Sergeant Salis is set to start at 1 p.m. Doors open down at the convention center at 12, but for those now the community is invited to attend the memorial for Sergeant Salis. However, seating is limited. We of course will be live streaming the memorial for you right here on Creme 2 Plus. So if you didn't get a chance to go down there and want to show support for the Sheriff's Office, we'll have that live streamed right here on Creme 2 Plus. We also have a list of the different road closures that are happening because of the procession, as well as a map of the procession if you wanted to still go out and show your support for the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. Again, all that information is on our website, creme.com, and of course we'll keep you updated not just here on Creme 2 Plus throughout the afternoon, but in our evening newscast, the 4, 5, and 6, as well as the lates as well. Live here in downtown Spokane, or in just Spokane in general, Christian Garza, Creme 2 News.
starts to come, I'm gonna record it. Yeah, oh yeah, we're the country. I went to get a position. Down there. I can't even see it from here. Quite good. That's what I thought. I guess I could have moved up with it. They were the ones that told me to move. I'm fine with this. They're gonna come by eventually.